Stanley.
Stanley, what's your parable about, Stanley?
Do you have a little parable you want to tell us about, Stanley?
You have a little story, a little cautionary story?
Stanley, what you got there? Is it your little story book? Are you going to read it to us, Stanley, your little parable teller?
Stanley!
Tell me your story, Stanley. Tell me all about it, Stanley.
Stanley, more like Storley.
Stanley, you little piece of shit. You tell me that story right now. I'm getting mad. Stanley?
How many characters does this have? How many arcs?
I'm getting angry, Stanley.
Is Nabuto in this one?
Nabuto. Is it Nabuto or his son Babuto? Which one is it, Stanley?
Which one is it? And what's the difference? I don't know. I just know one of them's the son.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, everybody. It's Stanley Parable time.
Welcome to the stream.
Look at the stream. You're watching Secret Sleepover Society.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
We were both pretty tired today, so I'm trying to get the energy up by yelling Stanley.
I was sick yesterday, so, you know. That's where we are. Joy has been in the litter box for the past 5 minutes.
I'm worried. I'm worried
it's going to be a stinker?
She's going to release a stink upon us at the end of this.
I mean, it might be.
But that's not your problem, the viewer.
It's our problem because also it's cold in our apartment, so we don't want to open the windows.
Yeah, it's cold in our apartment, and we've been cold all day. The heat's not on in our building anymore, I don't think. But it's still not that warm outside.
Yeah. I made the mistake of opening the windows for about half an hour to get that free shavakadu through the apartment.
Yeah, we didn't want the shavakadu, but you gave it to us anyway.
Yeah.
Why don't I read some subbies?
There's a lot of compliments for your outfit today.
Thanks, everybody.
He's got his Gengar sweater with the overalls. It's very nice. I'm just wearing some stupid merch.
I got my nail earrings.
Nice.
They're nails.
You could say Jacob nailed the outfit.
We got subs from Made of Pure Destruction, the world's Stanleyest Parable, Sax Rindell, Dububby, Kate Dice, Iranda Race, Sullen, Reed Marks, Dammit, Beerniat Bonk. Beerniat Bonk. Inkara 1010, Lulu Dominari, Copper Catnip, Crypt Doors Creek. Mitch Has No Life gave out 5 subs. Excuse me, I had a burp. Definitely Being Productive, Phantasmadora, Minor Music Major, Danza Daisy, Fozzie, Seagal Killer, Algedonics, Valpal White, The Mighty Pisces, Joe Crazyface, Not Really Canada, Viciously Viscous, Anemone, Blue Monkey Devil, Cognomentum, Scoops McCoops, Kimmy Stree, Leon Sleeps, Self-Proclaimed Freak, Toxic Bucket, Toast 42, Oh Papa Beans, Good Bee, Uncle Hayabet, Kyorma, Snazziness, PB&J Bandit, Jizz Tin Bieber, Dorkivore, Facet Streams, Nova Nocturnal, Inthalife, Indigo Cyanotic, Toast 42, Wibbles Dibbles, Christ Isabel, Cyclocentric, Laid He Bug, Evie Hellfire, Moody Blues, Chemicult gave out 5 subs, Withered Primordial, Cap'n America, Change My Name to Mess with Jacob, Bex Machina Art, Ungo Wilby, Minecrafter Dude 69, Flames of Civilization, Hex Kim 252, Maddie, a jester with his ass out, Greedworks, HGP Lunar Lance, Seismic Coin, DN Anya, Skeletone, Young Venus Rules, No Not a Mermaid, Atmakwa, Unbelievable, Wavy Maid, Lesbian, just a bunch of nouns, A Weeping Willow, Teensy Valkyrie, Petite, let me try again, Petty Villainy, gave out 3 subs, Yurtgurt, Mawut, and Greedworks gave out 5 subs. Thank you all very much. I didn't even smell it. You smell it?
I got a little whiff. I jumped on it.
I didn't even smell anything.
I
But
performed
better-
an exorcism in the back of the room with the candle.
Better to handle it sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
We don't want to have to live with it.
Yeah. Stanley Parable.
Thank you all for subbing.
Yes, thank you all for subbing. We really appreciate it. Wow.
We do really appreciate it. And thank you, Young Venus Rules, for the 10 gifted subs. And thank you, Olive, for standing on the desk.
Thank you, Olive. Stanley Parable.
Tell them about it. Tell them about it. Tell them, Julia.
I played this game a long time ago.
Yes, tell them.
Long time ago.
Tell them, Julia.
I done played this little game.
I feel like you're not really telling them.
Yeah. Basically, it's a game where you work in an office and then you choose to do stuff. And they came out with an Ultra Deluxe edition.
You work in an office and you choose to do stuff.
You work in an office alone, and it's fun. And I don't want to give it away too much. If you don't know Stanley Parable, it's been out for a really long time. The Ultra Deluxe came out fairly recently.
The
Joy's at your feet.
non-spoiler crux of it is it seems simple, but then there's like a lot of different ways to go about it.
Yes.
That's
this
the
game is
gist.
perfect for me because the first time I played it, I pressed a button many times to annoy my friends. And they...
I got you.
They were like, haha, this is annoying. And then I got a Chivo.
You better not forget to switch it to gameplay cam.
I have the buttons, Jacob. I'm getting ready on both hands.
I'm making sure. You don't need to like time it like a speed run. 3, 2, 1. Start the timer.
The end is never the end is never
This
the
is the
end.
story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Stanley! Someone said that this
And then
feels
one
very
day, something very
Hitchhiker's
peculiar
Guide.
happened.
Yes.
Something that would forever change Stanley.
Yes, it will.
Something he would
Stanley?
never quite forget.
Hi, Joy.
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
So now we have attained control of Stanley.
We sure have.
And what you'll learn through what Julia's doing here is that there are many ways to play this game.
Like ignoring it entirely.
This is a really fun one to start with, I think.
Okay.
I hate on days.
Your control button's so tiny. Isn't there like a zoom button?
You're certainly clicking a lot. I regret letting you play a game. Any game.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
What's that? I know what this computer.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
I regret letting you play a game.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
You tell him, narrator. Narrator, get her ass.
One of the doors, if you press it like 25 times or something, you get an achievement.
This is just making me think of, what was that other game we played? The puzzle one?
Oh, yeah.
It makes me think of every game when you play it. You find one thing to do that you do every time the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah.
This is just the Stanley Parable version of Granny Smith's blocking.
This is how the game was intended.
Superliminal, yeah.
Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment.
I know that in this game, it's like the point, but I do really relate to the narrator. Just in like our sort of everyday life. I'm the narrator of this couple.
Yeah. This couple. Ship Stanley and narrator.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
I want to turn off that computer. I gotta see what doors open.
It's just funny to imagine like...
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
It's funny to imagine like if Stanley were like a real person going around and doing this.
Really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Someone in chat just said that they get to hear so much extra dialogue because I play this game like no other streamer
At
has.
this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
This is why everyone left, Stanley. It's this type of behavior.
I think you are narrator and I am
Stanley sat around waiting
That's
for
what
more
I've been
dialogue.
saying.
But when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
But like, it makes sense that you would ship them. Yeah.
Coffee nut.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Ooh.
This is one of those games that's like a really good like litmus test. If you have people play it and they've never played it before.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Because I remember back when it first came out, I had a friend of mine play it.
Yeah.
And she just played through it, doing exactly what the narrator said the entire time, and then finished it in like, you know, however long, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, what was really the point of that game?
Yeah. Like you didn't see the options there? You didn't see when he said go left that there was a door on the right that you could do? Number one,
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Stanley!
Stanley!
What are you doing?
You little scamp.
You play like a squirrel.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Just whipping your head around to look at the clock.
I was curious if it was actually like keeping time.
It asked me what time it was currently when the game started, when I booted it up.
Oh yeah.
So I don't, that probably comes into play somehow.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Gotta go click that one every time.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? I don't think I put a lot of time into that, because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far.
Outfit.
Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Someone asked if there were jump scares. Jacob put on the content warning thing in the game.
Yeah, there's a content warning option that will tell you if anything's going to happen.
Stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Can't even click that door. Took away your ability to click door.
Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Oh.
All right, we're going to top out the leaderboards.
All right. Good old Neil.
All right, where are we on the leaderboards? Here we go.
I see. Very last.
Oh, it's an objective ranking too. That sucks.
That does suck.
Yeah. Well, listen, we can only get better from here.
.9% of players are more attractive than Stanley.
This is your superior.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting.
Let's go, bro.
You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life.
I get it.
I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes
It's a
clear
big baby.
once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation?
Oh, I love Firewatch.
We're just gonna play
It
Firewatch.
seems obvious to me that
Firewatch.
you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Who Firewatches the Firewatch?
Lot of Stussies. We got lots of Stussies in there. Truck Alaska, baby.
Did I ever tell you that I applied to work at Campo Santo?
No. Did you get it?
Believe it or not, I did not even get an interview.
What the hell? Well, that studio doesn't exist anymore, so
So, haha.
who's the real winner here? This is a new part, the original that was Minecraft that you played.
Oh no. No, it can't be. It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call.
Yeah.
I nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it.
That was close.
We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing. Wonderful.
Let's get some Rocket
See,
League.
This is exactly what I
Jacob
had
and
in
I have
mind.
been playing
Just a nice big
Switch
box for
soccer.
you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
It feels weird to be on a Rocket League course and going this slow.
I know.
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
With the end.
You're doing it, Stanley.
It's like I'm playing. Oh, I'm going so fast now.
Let's go, Stanley.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Hold on. What are you doing?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back. We still have so much.
You've escaped the narrator. Oh, goodbye. We're in the back rooms now. It's so dark.
It's so dark.
Can't see nothing. If the narrator really wanted to prevent you from going certain ways, just make it so you can't see.
True.
I'll turn around so fast. Jimmy Jams win. If I saw Jimmy Jams, I would shut this game down so fast.
Mm-hmm. A light at the end of the tunnel.
What the heck? What's in here? Computers? What are they computing?
I thought there was a way to zoom.
Check the controls. Nope.
It says I can jump, but I've been trying to jump. And I cannot.
You haven't unlocked jumping yet. It's in the skill trees.
Oh, okay. 427.
Are we stuck here?
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
The end
We
is
did it.
never, the end is never.
We did it. We Stanley Parabled.
So that's how you play this game.
All of his co-workers were gone.
And it's got a
What
million
could it mean?
endings.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
And we'll see how many times we can beat it in this stream.
To be fair, I did one of the longer runs in this game from what I remember just now.
You did the input on the compy. Aren't there like inputs on multiple compies and that's how you do it?
When Stanley
so.
came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Even on playthrough 2, you won't go the hallway he wants you to take.
Correct.
Wow. Yes. This room. What a beautiful room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Isn't there a jump off the side ending?
Yeah.
Get it.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've got... But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
We're so powerful. We did it. We did it again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yeah.
Oh, it's over like multiple playthroughs. That's
Yeah.
right. That you do the inputs. It's all coming back to me now.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew.
There's like no reason to.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the
Go to this
employee lounge
room.
first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime.
I'm beginning to think you
a
really
work of
like the
art.
lounge.
What was it about this room? But eager
In
to
real
get
life.
back to business, Stanley took the first open door
I
on
like
his
it.
left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look,
I'll
Stanley,
be
I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong
obeying
foot
lackey.
here. I'm not your
A
enemy, really.
victim
I'm
of the
not.
system.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Jesus,
Please,
Stanley.
stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life.
Her.
She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your...
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife? Who
Yeah,
wanted
she's
to
right
commit
there.
their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now.
No.
Hello, wife.
This is a
Terrifying.
very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Press F on your keyboard. Pay respects.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Hey, where's that bread that was in the oven?
Yeah. Did you lie to me,
Where's
wife?
the oven?
I think my wife's a liar.
I don't even see an oven.
Wife?
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now
Slowly
he's
becoming my
eating
office.
lunch.
Let me out.
Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work.
Chat's
One
pushing
might
all the
even
same
feel
buttons.
sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Press Q, Stanley.
But in his mind, In his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Geometrical wife.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Damn, we got a whole chat full of Stanleys.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Press
As he
B to
wandered through
repair
this fantasy
Brenner.
world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
That's the name of the game.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer.
My wife.
How could there possibly be?
This is not my
In
beautiful
reality,
wife.
all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always
This is a
has.
desk.
Nothing's
Where's my wife?
changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Stanley just likes to click. Press G to question
I can't.
nothing.
Not in the way I wanted to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Yay! We did it. We did it. We beat the game.
I did it.
I like how your Stanley like stumbles around. Too. Like,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
you gotta find the input, PC. Where is it? Alfred.
Alfred.
Was it that one? behind
Stanley
you?
went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Don't know where it is. Maybe it's further ahead. Oh shit, new content.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Let's go. Hell yeah, here we go. New content.
All right. Imagine we're on that like Disney World ride. The space bar.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
I remember that.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
I remember that.
Reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Yeah.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
That's me.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
What do you think it's gonna be? We're gonna see some Ultra Deluxe content?
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Everyone's saying it was Alex Hirsch doing the voice of that last
fun.
narrator.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
I'm so excited to see the new content.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Yay!
All right, let's
Jump
see it.
circle.
The jump circle?
Let's go! Let's fucking go! This is the shit right here. Hell yeah, you're doing it. You can jump while crouching and not jumping? You're just making jump noises.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Two jumps.
Jump.
Two jumps left.
Jump.
Stanley,
Jump.
I have to say, initial
goodness.
impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box.
Two
The
jumps too
Stanley
weird.
Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Yeah, kind of looking to
Good
see
chair, good
cushions.
chair.
Kind of looking to see cushions to get more jump.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Oh. What?
It different. It not same. It different.
It not same.
I remember that. Chat, it different.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
I like work, I just hate my boss.
Relatable.
Damn.
You don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. Oh, never mind. You're not a dog.
I kind of want to see his cool surprise. But I want to know what's in there. New content door is closed.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first.
You didn't
just
look
to
in the
admire
vent
it.
so you could come here to the employee lounge again.
Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Haven't we already done this stuff over here?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Why are you looking
I'm
at me
not
like
your
that?
enemy, really.
Do you have an idea for a different one over
I realize
here?
that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting,
I don't
Stanley.
remember.
Someone you've forgotten about.
I can't believe you're going to make me see an old
Stop
ending when I
trying to
could have
make
been
every
seeing a new
decision by
ending.
yourself.
That's a good
Now,
point.
I'm not asking for me. This is it, Stanley. Your chance
I'll
to
do it
redeem
fast.
yourself.
How about that?
To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. Oh, no, you can't. Did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
No.
I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices.
I've
And
never
to think
made a
I've been
correct
letting you
choice.
run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice.
Rupert's
He
a
could invent a
nerd.
machine that eliminates
Nerd.
food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm
Excellent.
supposed to be having
Making
a back
choices
sack
on a
and
regular
crack.
basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, If you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Damn, I can't wait to go back, Sack,
Welcome
and crack.
back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Now they give me a fence.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
You're doing great, Stanley.
I'm doing it.
If a person did this to me in real life, tried every door they
Almost
walk
there.
past.
You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
This is a fun one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Rip. Delete your art. That's right.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see.
Is this me on Detectives?
Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Damn. Full of fake outs, huh?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Excellent.
Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. I'm ready for the next slide. It's good data.
Good data. I know what to expect now.
Damn, they got it all in this. The top 20 things you love most about your boss. Those are all my dreams.
Plant life.
Less
Football.
air.
Comatose.
Mitosis. I'm always trying to do mitosis.
A boat.
That's back to the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We saw this. Nice try.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I love that this is our first time seeing this environment.
Yeah. The beige pages.
This is joy in my
Stepping
lap,
inside
not
his
Olive.
manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay
panda have
all
a
the
gun to
answers
its
to his
head?
questions.
Yeah.
Beyond all probability,
Sewage
he knew
lilies.
the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's
Business
computer just
strategy.
last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Nightwish 369.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
The amount of clicking. I hope you get carpal tunnel from this
I'm
stream.
sorry, is there a problem?
I mean, I
You
already,
didn't
my
mishear
hand's
me,
already
did you?
sore.
It's
Please
gonna be worse.
speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step. Okay, fine, you're not going to do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You...
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything
Seeing
okay?
Stanley from above.
Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It
Peter
cannot
Pan
exist
said, "Are
without
we
you.
a
Do you
white man?"
understand me? Whatever choice you make is
Stanley
just fine.
canonically.
You cannot be wrong here. We can work together.
White man.
I'll accept whatever
You heard it
do.
here.
I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
We did it again, baby. Vent, 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 vent.
I'll do the vent. That's for you.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Coffee nut.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
What you got over here, bud?
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Damn, let's go back. Let's remember.
Let's go to the memory zone. Wow.
It's beautiful.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was
Zone,
before
sweet
it was
zone.
sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Store listing.
It's the Russian version.
It is.
"2013. That was the year." What does that sign say behind you? "Our first kiss, my first car, the release of the Stanley Parable in 2013.
I remember the memory zone temp. The original remake.
Amazing.
Good times. A BAFTA?
With Stanley Parable taped over it.
Yep. Last of Us. Independent Games Festival?
Collector's Edition.
Collector's Edition? Time? Graphs? National Geographic? Cargo? Amazing.
It's a nice little house.
I love it. Hard to heat.
You would think that first thing.
Yeah. From a cold state. $1. I guess it's the first dollar
The first
made.
dollar they made. The demo. Alpha test.
Smile because it happened.
It's impossible to get this achievement.
Oh, I remember that. I was thinking about that when we booted this up. Because I was wondering if I could get this achievement now. If I booted up the original Stanley Parable game, which I have. Because I certainly have not played it in 5 years. Nominee for a BAFTA. And another BAFTA. And another BAFTA.
BAFTA, BAFTA, BAFTA.
Creator surprisingly down to earth. Rutgers goes from scandal to new crisis. Wow. What was this? Little Stanley. Oh.
Who's little Stanley? A little
Little hamster?
hammy?
Mémorisons, c'est cela pris des loups, et je n'attends plus que toi, mon amour.
Damn.
C'est là, dans la mémorisons, où je me remémore les jours
Is this person Canadian?
où je t'ai rencontré, mon amour.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
What's in the memory basement?
I don't know. I can't use it.
Can't even go in the memory basement? Damn. Nope. What's the point of anything?
Oh, that's when it was Minecraft?
Yeah. Person of the year. Ick. For the first time today, I'm too hot because of Joy.
Yeah. She cute.
She cute, though. Oh, the red door, blue door up there.
Oh, yeah. This is wonderful. This definitely makes more sense if you got all the endings from the
Here's
game.
another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
The serious room.
I can't get into the serious
It's
room.
too serious for you.
No, I need it.
He knows you're not going to take it seriously. You never do.
It.
You're going to go in there and go click, 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 click.
What are you talking about?
Please. Please.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Unfunny.
That was really good.
Good delivery on that. Joy, no.
You saved yourself.
She always tries to pull my headphones out with her tail.
Her tail's always up. She's always happy.
That's the problem.
The problem is that Joy is always happy.
About to say, you better try that door.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
I live in this rainy zone.
Your game was great, dude. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about these people.
The game's just not for these people.
It doesn't have to be for everyone, bud.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Don't do it, gamer.
I can't skip the narrator. I could never.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. Got the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you
Does
see,
he just
blah, blah,
loop?
blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245.
I think he looping.
Got the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are or were or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first, I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look. I have a method for exactly this sort of situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations. All right, here we go. Treatise, manifesto.
Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto.
Treatise,
manifesto.
treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto.
Treatise,
Manifesto.
treatise,
Manifesto.
treatise,
Manifesto.
treatise,
Manifesto.
manifesto,
Treatise.
treatise, manifesto,
Treatise.
treatise,
Manifesto.
manifesto,
Treatise.
treatise,
Manifesto.
manifesto,
Treatise.
treatise,
Manifesto.
manifesto,
Manifesto.
treatise,
Manifesto.
treatise,
Manifesto.
manifesto,
Treatise.
treatise,
Manifesto.
manifesto,
Manifesto.
treatise,
Treatise. Manifesto.
manifesto,
Manifesto.
treatise, manifesto,
Manifesto.
treatise, manifesto,
Manifesto.
treatise,
Treatise.
manifesto, treatise,
Manifesto.
manifesto,
Manifesto. Treatise. Manifesto. Treatise. Manifesto. Treatise. Manifesto.
All right.
Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their
Apparently
review,
there's still a lot
so
of
that the
skips
feature
to
is not
go.
widely abused.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That
Whoa,
last
the
one
door's
was,
gone.
well, I want to say maybe 30, 45
heck?
minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really
Where'd it
only
go?
so much I can
It's
ramble
gone.
on to
Don't worry
myself
about it.
I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button... Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from
We've
every
lost a few
angle.
lights.
I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it. And I have to believe, I have to know that
button.
sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time, just sitting here, not a single person to speak with.
Oh,
and you
no.
think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give... Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long.
Hello?
Hello?
The smoke detector.
I swear to God, if you do a lap around this screen one more time, Juliet.
You never know!
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he went, shut up. It's the inconsistency. It's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world, as though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others.
You're gonna peek.
Got it.
If there's ever something back there.
I hear it dripping.
It's just dripping. It's just dripping. What do you want me to do about it?
Right there. There.
It's just dripping.
But I found it.
the end, is never 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 the end, is never.
There's never good. It's dripping more.
There's so much drippage.
There's so much drippage.
The drippage has led to a collapse.
But we can't escape yet.
No.
Light.
Oh, we got light.
But we can't escape yet.
Wait, what if I can use that ladder?
You know you can't use that ladder. It's on the ground.
A whole radioactive thing. Oh, beautiful.
Wow. Nature returns. Nature always returns in the end.
Nature is healing. Oh.
Nature?
Turned to dust.
Uh-oh. Nature didn't return in the end. Hello? What's going on out there? The button fell. Oh!
Blue skies.
I can't believe you. Wow, it's all desert, huh? Well... Can we hit the button again?
Probably. How far out can that go?
Open world. However far out you go, you're gonna have to go back that amount. Oh.
What?
Now we'll never know if you could have hit it again. All because you'd
All
rather
his
wander
coworkers
into
were
the
gone.
desert.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting
Unbelievable.
room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked,
fair.
he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
You can't hit it again? Okay, good. That's a cool ending, though.
That's really cool. I like that one a lot.
Yo, we got new content?
Oh, good. You
Let's
noticed
go.
my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Okay.
All right.
The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never... We go that way. Looks like there's another track.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be.
This time it is
The
Olive.
Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Let's go.
Wow.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up.
Confirmed.
Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Wow.
Investor
Calling it the
showcase.
Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there.
Whiz
It's
fizz.
future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Potential. Cool photo.
It's office paintings.
Some fucking NFTs over here.
Yup. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us.
Oh, boy.
This is like the opposite of when you showed this game to that girl.
Yeah.
And she just played the game straight and then didn't understand. I refuse. They're back. 2 doors. New hotness.
Listen, everyone in chat saying this is the way the game's meant to be played. I want to stress to you that the way I played the game was different, which is that I did the most obvious things first, and then I went back and tried to do different things so that I could see the baseline first and then try to branch out on subsequent plays. Julia doesn't even want me to see
Now, to be
what
clear,
the baseline
I
is.
haven't quite nailed down what exactly
2 of
the
them.
Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work
beers.
itself out. Game development
two
is
beers.
much more
2
of a
eyes, 2
fuzzy
ears, 2
magic
chairs, 2
than
beers.
anything scientific or logical, really.
Jacob, it's not about you. It literally is. This is my stream.
It's also my stream.
And everyone is criticizing me for wanting to play it a different way. My way is also valid.
I want you to know that I got stuck for a second and I absolutely panicked. I was like, oh no, Jacob's gonna be so mad. But it's making you laugh.
And as someone in the chat mentioned, it's been proven before that the way Julia plays games in first person makes people sick when they watch it.
Well,
Because she whips the camera too much.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
All right, Jacob, what new feature do you want to try?
No, you're playing it. We're playing it
Reassurance
your
bucket?
way. We're playing it your way.
Let's do reassurance bucket. So you could be reassured.
I need reassurance.
Yeah. We'll go bucket route.
They do have an infinite hole that way, though.
But I feel like you need the assistance.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it.
That is happening to me.
I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms.
I want to
And
hold
be
it.
honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All
do.
this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
I'll keep bucket with us.
The bucket is making me feel much better.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
I want to go into infinite hole.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
I mean, happy 12th birthday,
sometimes when you
step-nieces.
solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
What?
How fucking dare you? That's objectively
I'm the one who makes the bad decisions.
less funny than happy 12th birthday step-niece. What about our step-niece now? Who will wish our step-niece a happy
Maybe I should have
birthday?
gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
What happened to infinite hole?
Still got 2 jumps left.
Save them. Infinite hole.
Around the corner to the right. Oh, an achievement over here we can
New
get.
and easy achievement.
Oh
Now,
boy.
here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Someday. Something to look forward to. No Chivos. No gamer Chivos.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Hole.
The hole.
Oh wait.
Oh, you took a picture because it told you not to?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Should I take a screenshot of...
Got him!
I did it.
Got their ass.
I did it.
Excited to see Hole.
Good. Yep.
It's starting to really seem like it's an infinite hole. It just keeps going.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
I feel like if we go into infinite hole,
Yeah.
that's going to be it for us.
Okay. Do you want me to save Infinite Hole?
Is there anything else we need to see before we go into infinite hole?
Okay. We'll go look around.
I feel like we should make sure.
Okay.
Do you want to take your jumps before we go?
No. Saving my jumps.
Saving your jumps.
Okay. Jump circle. This map. Free achievement. We did free achievement.
Have we hit the
Didn't do
button?
the button.
Where's the button?
Button is B. Okay. Wait. That's B squared. Okay, it's to the right. What are you doing?
I mean, we could literally see it
What?
in the distance. You're just so focused on looking for tiny things near you that you don't look for big, obvious things far away
This
like
thing?
that.
That's a
Giant
baby.
sign to your right that says the whole thing that we're looking for. These are saving to my computer, these screenshots.
Yeah. I don't want to go into the epilogue.
Epilogue seems like it could also be the ending.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Did she bring you a spring?
It's not Joy's time.
She brought Wormy.
It's
That's
our
what she did.
time.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature.
Okay.
Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay,
I'm
here we
Jim.
go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
I'm Jim. Holy shit.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes, you see? What a thrill.
That was incredible.
What a rush. That was you.
Did you hear that?
Described
That was
you.
amazing.
Do it again. Do it again.
Damn.
It's even
that's
harder
powerful.
the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much, Jim.
Impossible.
I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
We got 3 extra gems out of the
I got
deal.
3 extra gems.
We're keeping those gems in our pocket for later. Damn, I really felt seen.
Yeah.
What is it, Joy?
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable too. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Let's do hole.
Yeah, people in chat have said the hole is fine. Why does it even let you click when you're not even looking at anything? Why does it even make a noise?
Joy, did you put a spring over there or something? You keep looking at me and then looking down like there's a spring. I don't see it.
Julia, you know you only get so many clicks in this life. And this is how you're choosing to spend your clicks.
What if I use my left hand?
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of
pretty
my more
good.
ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
Do I die if I don't?
Well, it's an infinite
actually not
hole.
infinite?
Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley.
New mug.
I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
It's kind of relaxing down there in the hole,
I'm very excited to show you even
Jump
more
in the
of my
hole
ideas
again.
for this. Oh, for heaven. You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above.
We're gonna ruin this hole.
Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter.
Now he's on our side.
There it is. The shame of my... How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch.
No, it's still good.
Oh, who am I to judge?
Still good.
You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the, teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
I have a jump.
So I guess it is an infinite hole. But you can only jump when you're in the ring of jumps. Something's happening. It's going down again. Oh my God. It's happening. Our whole dreams becoming reality.
Our whole dream.
Dude, let's go. This is the shit right here. Oh yeah.
Welcome to Hole.
Whoa. Whoa. Yo.
Oh my God.
Damn, we're living in the hole. Yo.
Is this that game we played where I sung Enya?
What are we?
I'm on my head.
Change reality again. Oh, we're a little me version.
My head's stronger. Now you're no longer.
Stanley? Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole?
Back to Hole.
From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodlepip.
Can we go back? Send us back.
Hole.
Send us back.
What?
Send us
Here
back.
we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Hole.
Do we want to...
Fine, it ended.
We're nearing the end of stream. Or
Okay.
it is past the end of stream.
Okay.
What do we want to do to like finish it out? This?
Yeah.
Collectibles.
Why not?
Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Go get it. Oh, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. You have to see what happens when you finish your jumps. That's
Okay.
true.
We'll do that. Whoa. Damn, that's art.
Yeah!
All right.
God,
got
it really
one.
is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely. You know what, Stanley? I actually think the jump circle was a pretty good idea. I'd like to hang on to that for the sequel.
Final jump, chat. We're out of jumps. We're out of
Chat?
jumps.
Chat?
All that happens is we're out of jumps. We just don't have any more jumps.
Chat. The end is never the end is never the end is never. Should we do the epilogue and then
Let's do the epilogue.
that's it? I can't believe I wasted my jumps on that. Where's the epilogue? It's over here.
I don't know.
We can look at the map, I guess.
I'm not the navigator. I'm just here. Doing God knows what. Wasn't it on the way?
Semicolon.
It's like around the corner.
Oh, right. Okay.
Wasn't it like on the way to the hole? Oh, here it is.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
The Control-esque
Yeah.
imagery.
Settings world champion. What the heck? We can't even go in. We have to become the settings world champion.
Where the heck's the epilogue?
Apparently there is no epilogue yet.
My God. I'm going back to Hull while we wrap up.
You have to toggle every single setting at least once.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Even the numbered ones. Here we go. It's all happening. Wait, there were settings in there. Okay.
This
Okay. Do you need to click apply resolution? Does that count? Click keep resolution. Okay. This is so stupid. Did we do simplified controls? Did you click that on or off? At the very top?
Yeah.
Sliders have to go through every number?
Every number?
All the way up. You have to slide past every value. Do you have to go past every language? All the subtitle options? You can't use the mouse. You have to use the arrow keys for the sliders. This is gonna take forever. You can use the mouse?
What's wrong with you, chat?
Here we go. Keep going. There we go. That's where we started. What else is there?
Did we do it?
Wait, we can't have chat and emote only mode. We need to have them answer the questions. Translation label size. Oh, we got it.
Oh my god, we did it.
We're in it. We're in here.
Let me in.
Yeah.
I can see you've gotten the Settings World Champion achievement. Well done. You've experienced
I left it
every
on.
setting.
I left
traveled
I
to
left
all
on the thing.
corners of the settings menu. There's nothing you haven't seen. So, just for you, in the Stanley Parable 2, I'm including an entirely new setting, something called bumpscosity. What exactly is bumpscosity? Well, I haven't quite figured that part out yet, but I just know that you'll be able to adjust it on some sort of slider, and that it'll be available from the settings menu. We'll sort the rest of the details out later. I hope you're looking forward to trying out every level of bumpscosity in the Stanley Parable 2.
This was worth it. This was worth it for what we did. For what we had to do. It was worth it. The slider is there now.
What slider?
Bumpscosity. Is there a bumpscosity slider now? There is a bumpscosity slider. Yeah, we're gonna need it to be at 1,000 for sure. We've maxed out bumpscosity. I think everything's good.
What does bumpscosity do?
Nothing. It's a joke.
Hole's not even here anymore.
The hole's not even here anymore. We have to end this stream.
We're leaving tomorrow.
We're the Settings World Champions.
We're the Settings World Champions.
So think about that.
Think about that. Tomorrow, Drawfee stream, 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Come watch it.
Come watch it.
We'll be there.
Wednesday is me and Dan.
Yes. I will not be here Wednesday.
Dan and I will be playing. I'm inviting Dan to my Satisfactory world. So you can come see that.
Stop.
I haven't worked on it.
Stop.
Why?
Stop.
Why?
Stop. Stop.
Why?
Stop.
Why?
Stop moving around clicking locked doors. It's over.
My face is futzing.
It's over.
Why?
We're ending the stream. Please end the stream.
Come, you already made your choice. It's true.
End the stream.
But we all have to move
that's
on
it.
from our mistakes.
We will see you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time or Wednesday at 9 p.m.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Thanks for watching. Goodbye.